Welcome to Active Living at the Active Life. I'm Dan Wooten, your host. We have a great show for you today. We had a chance to visit the state capitol in Atlanta. We had an amazing time there, and then we're going to sit down after we show some footage of that and talk to our local state representatives who represent Troup County. And so I want you to stay tuned. I think you'll enjoy it very much. I'm here today at the Georgia State Capitol with Representatives Randy Nix and Carl Van Epps, and we're glad to have them here, and they're our hosts today to show us the Capitol.
It's great to have y'all with us today, Dan. As you can tell, it's a crazy day. It seems like everybody else is here, but we're having a good time having y'all here. Great to have y'all from LaGrange.
And it's very exciting. There's 60 seniors here, so we are excited to have all of them.
I'm here with our new representative, John Piesold, here at the Capitol. John, it's good to meet you.
Hey, we got a great turnout. We got 60 seniors up here at the Capitol, so this is a great turnout. Thanks to all my friends in Troup County.
Go ahead and get y'all lined up and then I'll put you out here.
Are you okay?
I'm all right now. You're okay up there? You don't want me on the floor? You're okay?
You're good. Okay. Grab my shoulder if you need
All right, so if y'all
Will you say hello to the people in Troup County?
Yes, hello everybody in Troup County. We're glad to have everybody at the Capitol today.
Thank you, Governor Neal.
Thank you.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
I got my
Thank
first
you
set
so
of
much.
words.
You did a great interview. I'm here with Ernestine and Carolyn and Joyce. They are first-timers to the state capitol and wanted to find out a little bit, ladies, of your impression of the capitol. Ernestine, what do you think of the building?
The building's very old. It's very colorful. It has stairs and everything. Stairs.
Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful marble stairs. Yeah, You're right.
Yes.
That is impressive. And what about you, ladies? Carolyn or Joyce, what did y'all think of the building?
It's very educational, and I enjoyed the walk. A lot of people took the elevator, but I'm a walker, so I enjoyed walking the stairs.
Right.
I didn't like walking the stairs too much.
Okay, you took the elevator.
I took the elevator. That's why I took the
Good.
stairs the first time, but then I took the elevator.
Yeah.
But it's really well sought out building. I mean, everything is marked. You know where you're going,
Okay.
and also people are helpful here. If they see you look lost, they point you in the right direction.
That is
So,
nice.
Georgia is like that.
Well, great. Well, I'm glad you were able to join us for today's trip to the Capitol.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Ernie and Ralph, and they are here at the Capitol with us today. And Ernie, this is your first time to the Capitol?
Yes.
Glad you were able to come with us today. And Ralph, you said the last time you were here when you were 16.
School, yeah.
Is that a couple of years ago? How long was it?
7, I think. I failed math.
Well, what did you think about the recognition we received in the House of Representatives?
That was great. I see it on television a lot, and you don't realize what all it does, what it means.
That
But
was,
when you're part of it, you realize exactly what it means to people.
yes. And Ernie, what did you think about the building and the ornate marble stairs and all
Getting
that?
lost?
Oh, yeah. Ernie got lost. It's bigger than you think.
Yes, very big.
But it's a beautiful building.
Yes, it is.
I'm glad y'all came along with us today, gentlemen. This is Lilla and Gertrude. Lilla, Gertrude, and they both grew up in Georgia, and this is the first time they visited the state capitol. What'd you think, ladies?
I was really surprised. I thought it looked somewhat like this from seeing it on TV, but I was glad to be here to see it in person.
Were you shocked by how crowded it was, Lilla?
Yes.
It
Oh,
was.
yes.
It was packed full of people of that. Well, anything stood out to you about your visit so far here to the state capitol?
Oh, nothing. I was just glad to see Nathan Deal in person.
Yes, that was nice. We got a picture with the governor,
And also I went, Carl.
Carl Von Epps.
I went to school with him.
Did you really?
Yes.
All right. Well, we're getting ready. We're just about to meet with our representatives and state senators, and so we're excited about that. I'm here with Deborah Miller. She is the Legislative Administrative Assistant for Chairman Randy Nix.
Yes, yes.
And Deborah helped us plan all this wonderful day. And so I just want to say thank you, first of all.
You are so welcome.
We couldn't have done it without
pleasure.
you.
It was a pleasure. I'm so glad. Did everything go smoothly
Oh,
for
yeah,
you?
everything's going great. We hope that
Okay.
the legislators will be able to meet with us shortly.
I hope so.
I know things
hope
are
so.
really going a little behind schedule today because
Yeah.
of the crowd of people. How long have you been an administrative assistant here at the state capitol?
For 5 years. 5 years, December of 2012. And but this is my first year working for Chairman Nix.
Excellent, excellent.
And it's a pleasure. He's wonderful to work for.
Oh. Well, what are some of your responsibilities? Of course, I know you helped us. We couldn't have done it without you. But what are some of your day-to-day responsibilities with Chairman Nix in the legislature?
Committee responsibilities, answering phones, dealing with the constituents, and just running errands and dealing with legislative council and bills and different things.
Deborah, tell us, what's your favorite part of your job?
Oh, just greeting him in the morning. It's just like it just brightens up my day, Other than that, it's just dealing with the coworkers, and we have a camaraderie around here. So it's a pleasure.
Excellent. Well, thank you for helping us maneuver
You are
through
so
all the
welcome.
details of coming to the Capitol.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Back with Representative Randy Nix of District 69 for the state of Georgia. Randy, we enjoyed our visit to the state capitol. Thank you for arranging that for us. And that was the most hectic day I'd ever seen at the Capitol. What was going on?
Well, I think you probably picked one of the busiest days. There were just different interest groups of all sorts visiting. There was as legislators, we were extremely busy. It was getting late in the session, and as we had discussed before, that it gets really difficult sometimes to come out. I know we even had trouble getting you in the balcony. There were so many people. But it was great to have you come visit. I'm sorry that we couldn't spend more time on that specific day with you and get you in like we wanted to. But sometimes when you come to the Capitol, believe me, it can be a zoo, and you got there on the day when it was really a zoo.
Well, we enjoyed it, and thank you for arranging it. Give me a summary as we look back over the last legislative session. What are some highlights, areas that you think people need to know about?
Well, I think there were a number of, this of course was my 7th year. I'm in the middle of my 4th term. And it was by far the shortest session in terms of the actual calendar days we took to fill it. Of course, as you know, we have 40 legislative days. They're not consecutive days, but they're days we're in session. This year we started on January the 14th. We have to start on the 2nd Monday of January from the constitutional standpoint. And we finished on the 28th of March, which was a relatively short period of time to get 40 days in. I know sometimes in the past we've actually finished in the mid to late part of April. So you can see how compressed. Normally we might be in for 3 days and out for a couple of days, those type of things. But this time we were in 5 days, then 4 days the next week with very few breaks. So it was quite an intense session. I tell everybody it was kind of a grind. It was just so much going on. The day you got there, I believe I had legislation that I was waiting that had gone through the committee process. We passed it out. I was waiting for the speaker to call my bill. That's why I was kind of anxious to be near the floor. But one of the things we always have to do is have a balanced budget. This year there were a number of committee hearings that went along with balancing the budget. I'm on appropriations for higher education there. I can't remember exactly how many different committees that go into the budget, but I happen to be on the one for higher education. Of course, there's one for education, there's one for the issues related to Department of Health and Human Services. Just all of those things have to fit together. That is the critical part of the session is balancing a budget and having the constitutional requirement to do that. That's really the only thing we're constitutionally required to do. So doing that this year was a real chore. There was a lot of uncertainty of what was going on with sequestration with the federal government. We weren't sure what programs would be funded at what levels, and what a lot of people may not realize, while we have about a $19 billion state budget, there's about that much money from the federal government that flows to us as well, and a lot of those are matching dollars. So there was a tremendous amount of effort spent trying to figure out what sequestration was going to do to us. So getting the budget done and balanced was a real chore, which it always is. And in the times when the revenues are not as strong as we'd like, you see it even from your programs. You know, what's going to get cut? What can we get a little more money for? So that was a real critical part. This year, of course, as you know, we had some real important legislation related to ethics. Ethics bills that had started even before the session. They were worked on. There was numerous hearings. We got down to it really didn't pass until the last night. What people sometimes don't realize is the House has to pass it, and then the Senate has to pass it. If the House passes it first and it goes to the Senate, if they change one word, it has to come back to the House and be redone. So on something like ethics, as you might imagine, the House has one idea, the Senate has one idea. So we pass ours, they pass theirs, and we have to get a conference committee together to work out those differences so that we can come up with a bill that both of us have voted on. So ethics was a big part of it. I'm sure everybody knows there was a big gun bill this year that was debated and reworked and worked on and worked on and worked on, and then the clock kind of ran out on us. We did not finish that this year. Those were some very, very big issues. We had some big education issues. As I mentioned to you earlier, education is kind of my passion. I passed a bill this year that's going to change the way we evaluate our school teachers. As they are now, they can only get two ratings, either satisfactory or unsatisfactory. The new bill will have 4 different ratings they can get. There's a better plan for personal improvement. If somebody's not at the standard they need to, that they can move up to that standard. So there was a myriad of bills. That was the piece of legislation
that you sponsored. Is that the one you're talking
about? That's right. That was the one I think I was waiting on the day that you were there to have it called. Wow. So that's what's so fascinating about the legislature. There's so many different things. We've got 34 different committees, and with bills coming from all of those committees, anything from natural resources and environment to ways and means, which talks about how we raise our revenues, to appropriations, to how we spend it. It's an exciting time, and when it gets compressed like it was, you can understand why it looked like we were running around with our hair on fire.
Wow. Well, what was, in your opinion, the most important piece of legislation that you passed this year? That may be a difficult question, but one that you're very thankful went through, other than your piece of legislation.
Well, you know, passing the budget, of course, is critical because so many things hinge on that. We passed a juvenile justice code rewrite this time that was extremely critical. We had passed a criminal code rewrite last year. And in fact, I was speaking with Judge Michael Key not too long ago. They were very interested in the fact that we passed that. We've got so many people that get caught up in the justice system. We spend way too much money on our prison systems. And this was aimed at trying to take some of those juveniles, keep them out of the prison system, get them help in the community, and it can save a lot of money. Right. We spend over $1 billion a year on the prison system. Wow. So I think that was probably one of the highlights of the year in terms of something that really makes a difference in how the state operates and can have a tremendous effect on our young people and on our court system and on our communities as well.
Excellent. Well, thank you again for our wonderful visit, and we look forward to visiting the state capitol again.
Well, I hope you can get there next time when everybody else is not there. Maybe we can pick a day and find out when everybody else is not coming and you come that day.
That would be a wise plan. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm here with John Peizold. He's the representative of District 133.
That's correct.
And serves the southern part of Troup County. And John, this was your first legislative session.
The very first one. It was an interesting one and one I'll never forget.
Well, tell us some highlights. What was your experience like?
Well, it's like learning a new language. I'm not an attorney by trade, but I happen to play one 40 days out of the year. So every night I spend in my hotel room reading over bills, and sometimes I feel like I'm reading on a third grade level because it's all new terminology, but very gratifying, and I really appreciate the experience and the opportunity.
Did you were you surprised by any of the procedures or the way things are handled at the state capitol?
Some things surprised me, others not so much. I came into it a little bit more of a realist than sometimes freshmen do. I was a little bit disappointed that sometimes legislators don't often read the bills that they're voting on. And I post all of my votes on my Facebook page. Not only how I voted, but the logic that led me to that conclusion. So it really, it's an accountability mechanism that makes me explain and have a great rational explanation behind every vote that I cast.
Excellent. What piece of legislation that you either voted for or against were you most passionate about?
The ethics bill was very important to me. That's one issue that I campaigned on, and I just think that it's imperative that we, the citizens, have the trust in our government and in our elected officials. So,
what difference will that piece of legislation make?
Well, there are a couple different ethics bills. The main one was House Bill 142, and this places a $75 limit on any lobbyist gifts to a legislator. Now, I made it a standard practice throughout the session to pay for my own dinners when we went out. Okay. I think there were a couple exceptions, but for the most part, when we went out to dinner to discuss issues, I made it very clear that we were going Dutch, or at least I was going Dutch.
John, tell me about your first day at the state capitol. What was it like? Was it exciting, scary? What were some of the emotions you were feeling and experiences?
Well, it was January 14th. It was a rainy day. And I had my entire family, my wife and kids, and my parents were up in the gallery looking down. And it was just really special to have Ashley, Jack, and Eleanor at my desk with me, at the swearing in, and definitely something I'll never forget. Nerves were pretty high, but everybody was very accommodating, very friendly, and I was just ready at that point to get to work because if you remember, my election was over back in July, so I'd been asked questions, hey, how do you feel? Are you ready to get to work? And I was chomping at the bit, so ready to hit the ground running.
Wow, that's a great first day. Did you feel that it would have been helpful if they gave more information to a new representative? Were there things that you learned that you wish you had known before, or is that impossible to do that thorough of an orientation to get you ready for that first session?
I think to some extent you really have to be in the fire to truly understand it. But like anything else in life, it's all about relationships. And I tell you what, the friends that I have met and made over that short 40-day window are friendships and relationships that I will never forget. And we'll remain friends for life. So that's very important to me. And it's all about how you treat people. I think we can disagree on the issues without being disagreeable. So that's the way I choose to lead.
Wow. Leave us with one one thing. One thing that if you could magically wave your wand over the state capital of Georgia, what would you change about the process?
The transparency, and I think I'm trying to lead that way with, again, my transparency with my online posting of votes. I think if we feed information to our constituents, they will demand greatness of us. Mm-hmm. And I believe that every person in that chamber, both sides of the Capitol, they have that transparency and that greatness in them. But at the end of the day, we serve our constituents, and if they demand it, we will do it.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Thank you for taking
Anytime,
time to
my
talk
pleasure.
with us.
Sure.
I'm here with Representative Carl Van Epps. He serves District 132, which covers the east side of Troup County. Is that correct?
East side of Troup County.
Now, you have served our community as a state representative longer than all the others. And how many years have you served our community?
This is actually my 21st year in the Georgia House of Representatives.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you just finished a session, a legislative session there. What was your impression of this last legislative session? What did you think about it?
Well, I thought it was reasonably productive. I thought it was short because we didn't take many breaks this year. I was pleased that we didn't get a chance to do as much damage as we normally do when we convene and stay there longer. Mm. So,
what are your concerns when you approach a new session and there's a lot of legislation being talked about? As a representative of Troup County, how do you approach evaluating various bills that come before you?
Is it good? Does it do any serious? Does it serve any serious benefit to the constituency that you represent? Is it meaningful? Is it productive? Does it help somebody? Hmm. You know, so that's basically my guidelines for trying to assess bills as they come before us.
Wow. So for 21 years, as you look back over the 21 years in your opportunity to help the citizens of Troup County, what are some highlights from those 21 years of what have you enjoyed most about being a representative, and as you reflect back on the impact that you've had in our community, what are some highlights?
Well, being a representative is just that. You have to represent a constituency. You have to be able to make a difference to help people out when there are times of need or times of concern, and just being responsive for constituent services. Oftentimes people will call and say, can you help me with this or help me with that? And so that's the true benefit of being a representative, is to represent a constituency.
Mm. Do you, as you look out at older adults in our community, what are your major concerns with senior citizens and the needs that they have in Troup County?
Well, some of the concerns may not be related to being a representative, and some of them are. I consider the budget the primary thing that we do in the General Assembly, and if you follow the budget or you track the budget, then you track where Georgia's heart is. And as long as we're providing services, healthcare services, extracurricular services for our senior citizens, then you are recognizing what they've done over the years to make this a better place to live. So just helping out where we can.
Well, a question that I asked John Peizold, if he had a magic wand and could wave it over the state capitol and make some changes, from your 21 years of experience, if you could do that, what are some changes you would like to see in the system, to see in the way that the state legislators do business?
Well, the changes are probably not doable, but I would love to see a little more compassion for people that live amongst us, a little more compassion for senior citizens, a little more compassion for the elderly, the sick, and young folks. just make sure that we are providing the services that they need in their time of need.
Wow.
And there is not as much compassion there as I've seen in years past. There's a lot more focus on putting tools in the toolbox to build economic development as if that's the primary concern. People are the primary concern, in my opinion.
Wow. What drew you to become a legislator? What led you to the point of running for your first time? And I don't know about your history there. Did you win the first time you ran, or did you
Well,
have
when
to...
I first ran for a state seat, I actually won that. And what attracted me was the opportunity to make a difference in the lives of citizens that I knew, citizens all around who had a need for a voice, for representation.
Did someone inspire you? I mean, you look back in your childhood or your young adulthood, what brought you? Is there someone that inspired you to do that, to get involved in serving your community in the way that you're serving?
Certainly, Mrs. Kite was an inspiration. She made a difference in the education arena to provide children in those days an opportunity to get an education so that they too could be productive citizens in life.
Wow. How would you, looking out to the people in our community that maybe are considering getting involved in politics, are there things they need to be aware of that you would alert them to issues they need to prepare themselves for? Would you encourage them? Would you say, watch out, you need to, what do you think?
Well, I would just like to say to encourage people to not get to be one issue.
Okay.
You're there to represent a constituency, so you need to be aware that your vote affects people's lives, and it's not just about you. And compassion would be the characteristic that I hope anybody has before they would entertain a thought of public service.
Wow. Well, I want to thank you so much. We have enjoyed over the years visiting the state capitol and spending time with our representatives, and this last visit was just so busy and chaotic we didn't get that chance to spend time with you, but we've always appreciated and enjoyed. Y'all have always been so hospitable, so welcoming to our group, and we appreciate that very much.
Well, it's always a joy to have senior citizens amongst us to come in and advocate for the issues that concern them, so we appreciate you coming up.
Well, thank you. Thank you for taking time with us today.
Okay.